Bienvenidos al universo Cigar Fati. Today, we're talking about a name that is luxury tobacco, Zino Davidoff. You know, to borrow a famous line from Winston Churchill, it really captures just how huge his influence was. And it's absolutely no exaggeration to say that pretty much the entire modern cigar world owes a massive debt to this one guy. I'm serious. The way we store them, the way we select them, heck, even the way we think about premium cigars was pretty much all shaped by his genius. So if you've ever had the pleasure of enjoying a perfectly kept cigar, well, you've got Zino to thank. Let's dig into how he did it right from the very beginning. To really understand the man, we have to go back, way back. It's a story that starts with real hardship and a journey all the way across Europe. So, Zino was born in what is now Ukraine. And get this, when he was just 5 years old, his family had to flee persecution. They ended up in Geneva, Switzerland. His father opened up a tobacconist shop, so Zino grew up surrounded by it all. But that wasn't enough for him. As a young man, he did something pretty radical. He went straight to the source, traveling all through Central and South America to truly understand the soul of tobacco. And when he got back to Europe, he brought all that knowledge with him. And this, my friends, is where the story gets really interesting. Because Zino didn't just sell tobacco, he completely reinvented the entire experience with three absolutely groundbreaking innovations. First off, he spotted a fundamental problem. Cigars are born in a warm, humid, tropical climate, right? But the second they arrived in the dry, cold air of Europe, they just started to die. They lost everything that made them special. And his solution? It was revolutionary. After arguing with his more traditional father, he converted the shop's basement into the world's very first cava, or humidor room. He lined it with cedar, controlled the environment, and bam, he had basically recreated the perfect tropical climate right there in the middle of Geneva. And then, history presented him with this unbelievable opportunity. World War II is raging, the Nazis are advancing on Paris. And Zino makes this incredibly bold move. He buys up France's entire stock of priceless Havana cigars and moves them to his shop in neutral Switzerland for safekeeping. So after the war, his shop was the only place in Europe with a huge, perfectly preserved collection of the world's best cigars. It became a legend, a meeting point for royalty, financiers, Hollywood stars. Everyone who was anyone came to Davidoff of Geneva. But all this success created a new problem. His wealthy clients were buying these incredible cigars, but how could they possibly protect that investment once they left the shop? They didn't have a climate-controlled basement at home. Zino's second great innovation was the perfect answer. He invented the desktop humidor, a miniature, personal cava that allowed enthusiasts to perfectly preserve their collections at home, in the office, wherever. This single invention basically empowered a whole new generation of connoisseurs. But he still wasn't done. He saw one more challenge. For all their quality, cigars just weren't seen with the same level of sophistication as fine wines. They were missing a system, a language of luxury. And the genius of this next idea was its beautiful simplicity. He gets inspired by a wine list at a fancy restaurant, and he creates the Chateau line of cigars. He named each one after a famous Bordeaux vineyard. For the first time ever, cigars had a menu, just like fine wine, and that forever linked them to the world of high culture. So with these innovations, Zino was already a legend, but the biggest moment of his career, that was still to come, and it would involve a deal that was truly historic. The year is 1968. In a world full of turmoil, post-revolutionary Cuba is about to make a move that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. And then, the unthinkable happens. The Cuban government reaches out to Zino, a Swiss shopkeeper, a capitalist, and invites him to create a new line of cigars that would bear his own name. This was just an unprecedented honor. But Zino knew his value. He agreed, but only on three incredibly audacious conditions. First, he would have total control over the tobacco blends. Second, the absolute best tobacco fields in Cuba would be reserved exclusively for his cigars. And third, he would design his own distinct packaging. And you know what? The Cubans agreed. The Davidoff brand was born. Now, that Cuban partnership created some of the most legendary cigars ever made, but the realities of the Cold War would eventually force another pivotal change in the story. The brand's evolution from here is really a tale of two origins. The Cuban era was iconic, but Zino and his partner were a perfectionist. They got so frustrated with production inconsistencies and the difficulties of doing business during the Cold War, so they made a monumental decision. They moved their entire production to the Dominican Republic, all in the quest for absolute quality control and the perfect flavor profile. And it's that relentless pursuit of perfection that truly, truly defines his ultimate legacy. Zino passed away in 1994, but his vision is more powerful today than ever. Davidoff is arguably the most recognized premium cigar brand on the planet. Its portfolio is just immense, with blends using tobaccos from all over the world, catering to every possible taste you can imagine. His name isn't just a brand anymore. It's the standard for quality. He truly is the Zeus of tobacco. And he left us not only with an empire, but also with a legendary wit. He famously said, "If your wife doesn't like the aroma of your cigars, change your wife." A perfect encapsulation of his passion and his humor. Si te gustó, si lo disfrutaste, si aprendiste algo nuevo, suscríbete al canal porque recién comenzamos.